Happy NBA 2K Eve. We have some player ratings for the Orlando Magic. Why they are both a sign of the Magic's progress and the skepticism about this team. Plus, we'll talk about mission statement and pressure on this 2K Eve. It's time for Locked On Magic.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is September 7th, 2023. My name is Philip Rossreich. I'm the expert and site editor over at MagicTLA.com. Of course, follow me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD. On today's episode of Locked On Magic, it is officially NBA 2K Day Eve. That's a mouthful. NBA 2K24 comes out tomorrow. So we have something new to discuss. Player rankings. Never satisfies anyone, makes everybody angry, but still tells us a little something about the team. So we'll get to what the Magic ratings say about them, both the good and the bad, because I am an optimist. We'll get to that, plus talk about the Magic's mission state for them. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, we want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day, no matter when you listen to us, whether it's first thing in the morning, whether it's right when we upload. Truly appreciate making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. Remember, there's a great Locked On podcast covering every single team in the NBA. To search for Locked On and the team you're looking for, the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. I'm a 2K player. I will not deny that. I play about an hour and a half to 2 hours per day, depending on how angry I get playing it. I am a My Team guy, so some of the things that y'all talk about on 2K just are foreign to me. I love basketball history. I love playing with classic Magic players, and I do have a Magic alumni-only team that I use on my team on occasion. I think I'm playing with my Magic alumni team tonight for my final session of NBA 2K23, because tomorrow NBA 2K24 is available to masses, and before you run out and spend ungodly amounts of money to make sure that your player or team is actually competitive, I am a NMS, no money spent player, by the way, outside of subscribing to Xbox Live and buying the game itself. Before you go out and spend ungodly amounts of money so you can actually be competitive with some of the crazy stuff that goes on, we just have to sit down and think about what the game says about the team. Obviously, it's a snapshot. It's a video game. So don't read too much into it. Don't think too hard about it. It's a snapshot of what's popular, what's big, who matters, who doesn't matter, who's ignored. And gives us at least a first glimpse of at least where the 2K programmers think everyone is around the league. Now, not everyone's ratings have been released. We do have a couple of key players from the Magic that was shared by the Orlando Magic on their X or Twitter account yesterday. We do have at least some sense of where the Magic stand. And there's just a few things I want to point out to. But first, let's lay down the facts. Let's lay down those early rankings just to get you going. According to the Orlando Magic, the graphic that was made by 2K or sponsored by 2K, Paolo Banchero will be the best player on the Magic with an 84 overall rating when the game begins. They do update ratings as the season progresses. And if you're a My Team player like me, you know that a 99 Paolo Banchero is not too far on the road. Franz Wagner will start as an 82 overall, Wendell Carter Jr. as an 81 overall, Markelle Fultz an 80 overall, and Cole Anthony a 79 overall. Already I've heard some Magic fans complain about Markelle Fultz's rating being too low. We'll get to that in a little bit. It's worth noting that Paolo Banchero is the only Sapphire tier player. If you're a My Team player, you know what that means. But essentially, the way My Team works is they split everyone into different gem colors. Sapphire is the first gem color where you have all-stars. So in this sense, and I will note this too, last year, the My Team rankings are usually lower than the actual game rankings if you're just in the playoff mode. Last year, Paolo Banchero started as a 79. So this tells you a 5-point jump is a pretty big deal. They clearly see Paolo Banchero as a future star. Franz Wagner, for what he's worth, I believe started last year as an 80. Wendell Carter, if I'm not mistaken, also started last year as an 80. So Marco Fultz, I believe, started last year as a 78. Coy, I believe, 76. Already, you see the first theme that emerges. Forget about the overall rating. Forget about whether you think, oh, Marco should be 2 or all that jazz. That stuff's mildly interesting. But comparing where the Magic are entering NBA 2K24 to from where they were entering NBA 2K23, you can already see they think the Magic are a better team. The top players all got better. Anthony Black's a 73. Jet Howard's a 72. That's pretty normal for a rookie. The Magic got better. We can see that. We can clearly see and clearly state the Magic are a better team than they were last year. That's what NBA 2K says. And we all agree with that. We all say that. We all tell everyone that, like, look, the Magic were a playoff-capable, playoff-caliber team last year for the majority of last season. NBA 2K seems to agree with us and seems to agree with that notion and that idea. That's good. That means the Magic had a good season in 2023. I think we all agree with that. What does it mean for 2024, though? Again, this is just all perception. This is all perception. Well, the first thing is Paolo Banchero is merely a borderline. Nikola Vucevic is still rated in 84. And I'll bring up the Chicago Bulls here in a minute, but they're not quite ready to buy fully into this. I don't know what the overall ratings are. I think the Magic last year finished as an overall rating at 80. Paolo Banchero finished last year as an 85 on the Play Now ratings. I believe Franz Wagner was at 84, so they bumped him down 2 spots from the end of the season last year. Again, plenty of room for these guys to grow, to get better, to be a better playable team in the game. Paolo Banchero was a borderline all-star. They're not predicting he will be an all-star this year. They're predicting he could. They're predicting he might be on the outskirts of that. They're not predicting him to be an all-star. And I will note this too, again, by my team tiers, 80 is the cutoff for Emerald. I believe is the cutoff for Emerald. The lowest tier in the game is Gold. 4 players are Emerald. Everybody else is Gold. So 79 to 60 are all Gold. Those are all essentially bench players, whatever you want to call them. The Magic have 4, I would say, starter caliber players. I think that's the delineation, having silver and bronze, because that really helped separate things. But essentially, Emerald is starter level, Sapphire is borderline all-star, Ruby is solid all-star, and then you get into Amethyst, Diamond, all the, I don't think they allow higher than Diamond on the first set. But, like Giannis Antetokounmpo is a 98 or Nikola Jokic is a 97 or whatever it is. I'm not going to concern myself about that stuff. What I want to say, though, is very clearly 2K believes the Magic are better this year. But also very clearly, like everyone else who's predicting this league and predicting what the Magic are going to be, there's still skepticism that they will reach that level or that they're there already. And this is like the larger point for the entire season. It's the Magic have to prove themselves. I look at the team like a Chicago Bulls. The Chicago Bulls did not post their 2K ratings, but last year they finished with 3 Sapphire players. Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan both rated as an 86. Nikola Vucevic was an 84. Lonzo Ball was the only player who's an Emerald. Everyone else was Gold. The Bulls were rated 1 spot higher than the Magic at the end of the season last year on NBA 2K23. This says that, yes, the Bulls have players who have proven themselves more, that have proven what they're capable of doing. So let's take another team that have some data on. The Indiana Pacers, team that the Magic are going to be competing with for a playoff spot to enter in. Probably the Magic and the Pacers, probably the 2 best young teams in the Eastern Conference. Tyrese Halliburton is rated an 88. That's what you get for being an all-star last year. He was an all-star last year. Ruby is a solid all-star. He gets to be an 88. Then they have Benedict Mathurin, who I believe was rated as my screen just went blue, which is not good. Then they have Benedict Mathurin. Then they have Benedict Mathurin and Bruce Brown are 80s, and Miles Turner is an 83. Again, Bruce Brown coming off a championship run with the Nuggets, a lot of attention on him. His rating got a huge bump up this season. Benedict Mathurin, solid rookie, is at 80. Buddy Hield is at 80. The Pacers are probably a team that's rated ahead of the Magic. They have more stuff that's proven, and that's why they're rated higher. And that's going to get us to the mission statement for the season. You know, the 2K ratings are great. They're fun. Talked about them for 11 minutes here already, almost 11 minutes here already. By the time I finish this sentence, it'll be 11 minutes if I just keep stammering for the next 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. See, I told you. It's this season is about proving yourself, about the Magic proving themselves. And it's honestly the big talking point of the year. We're going to get to that, talk a little bit more about the Magic's mission statement for the year, and talk a little bit about why this is a season under pressure. We'll get to that coming up here in just a minute. But first, a quick word from our friends over at FanDuel. The NFL season starts tonight. Kansas Chiefs taking on the Detroit Lions. And FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, wants to make sure you are ready for the season with some incredible offers. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Now is the best time to join FanDuel. The app is easy to use, and you can bet on everything from spreads to player props and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season with an offer you will not want to miss. FanDuel is an official partner of the NFL. We're obviously now countdown to the end of to the beginning of the season and the beginning of training camp. The FIBA World Cup has their semifinals tomorrow. We'll talk about on tomorrow's show again, roughly early afternoon episode on Friday. We'll get to the championship game on Sunday. The Magic are guaranteed to have someone in that championship game. So again, Sunday afternoon episode, prepping you, recapping the FIBA World Cup and everything we learned from that. So you got a lot to look forward to this weekend, basketball-wise. But we can clearly see training camp on the horizon and the beginning of a new Orlando Magic season. It is an exciting time, and it is something we're really looking forward to. So now is the time to begin crystallizing what this is going to be about. And what's going to be important and what's going to matter for this Orlando Magic team. This is a big year. There is, and we're going to talk more about this in a minute, there is pressure out this season. There is the real need to accomplish something, to get something done, to take that all-important next step forward. There's a lot that's going to happen, a lot that needs to be done for the Magic to get where they want to go and be the team they want to be. And so it feels like, since we're talking about, 2K20, that the release of 2K really feels like it's the start of a new season. We get to kind of test out and play with ourselves as fans, test out and play with who this team is going to be. So let's lay down a mission statement. Let's lay down what this season is actually about. And I think it's really important that we do this. For the Magic, everyone in the front office, they're continuing to keep giving us the same kind of buzzword and statement. It's time to level up again. It's time to level up again. And if you're looking for a tangible goal, a results-driven goal, the Magic were the last team eliminated from the playoffs last year, from the conference contention last year. There's only one other place to level up. I also don't like to firm and fast ideas on the team, but the Magic need to make the postseason next year. Play in, playoffs, whatever you call it. The Magic need to be a postseason team next year. That is my goal. That is what I'm expecting from this team. If they're going to level up, that is the place to level up. That is the only place to level up at this juncture. The Magic have to take that next step up. And of course, we will see if they are able to do that. That is the quintessential question for your Orlando Magic. It's too simplistic, and I know I've said this on previous episodes this week even, it's too simplistic to say that the Magic just need to get better. That's true. They need to get better. They need to play better. Individuals need to be better. They need to be more precise, more detail-oriented, all that stuff. That's simplistic, but also the correct answer. That the Magic have to do X, Y, Z and do it well to get where they ultimately want to go. Obviously, though, we need something a little bit more clear. And obviously, I think if we're not going to be so results driven to say like it's playoffs or bust or postseason or bust, it's not that. To me, what the Magic's mission statement is this year is the Magic need to exit this season knowing who they are, knowing what they're going to be about, knowing the kind of team they're ultimately going to be. This is a season of questions. I don't have answers to a lot of these questions. I know that's like anathema and that's not like what they tell you to do to get traffic, but I don't have answers. I don't know who this team is. I don't know what this team is going to be. And I'm not going to pretend to predict it because so much of it is still so uncertain because Franz Wagner, as good as he is going to get a lot better this year. Paolo Banchero, for as good as he is going to be a lot better this year. And the question the Magic have to ask themselves, and the question the Magic need a better idea of solving at the end of this year, is to say, who are we? What are our goals? What specific things, specific players do we need, or kinds of players, do we need to achieve what we want to achieve? And that is ultimately down the road, somewhere before 2030, win a championship. Maybe not 2030, but if you get the joke, you get the joke. The Magic need to spend this season still testing, still experimenting. They're not all about winning quite yet. Winning is important, and it's a key part of their goal. But they have to continue getting better. Simple as that. But they need to get better, see what's going to take to get even better. So it's not just about wins and losses, as important as those are. It's about how those wins and losses come together. It's about what is revealed in those losses. What are the shortcomings of this team? What will make Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner's life just that much easier? What's ultimately going to lead this team to success? However you want to define success. That is the ultimate mission statement. So you take Paolo and Franz, you see whatever they become, and then you ask yourself, well, is Marco Fultz the point guard that's going to get the most out of them? That's a question a lot of Magic fans, certainly a question a lot of national media are asking them. And it's honestly, even though I do believe in Marco Fultz, I think he can be that guy, it's a fair question to ask. Can he shoot well enough to give Paolo and Franz the space to be as great as they are? Can he create enough space for them to get the easy shots they need? He's a great playmaker. I have no doubt he can. And guess what? This year we're going to find out. This year he's going to be an opportunity. Can Wendell Carter be the rim protecting big man the Magic need, even if he's not a great shot blocker? The Magic have to give up a lot defensively to protect the paint, even with a good defender like Wendell Carter. Especially in a playoff atmosphere. Can Jalen Suggs make good on his talent? Can the Magic find enough shooting to be competitive on a night-to-night basis? There's a lot of excitement about this team. I know I've said this. This is the most anticipated Orlando Magic season probably since 2010, since the 2010 season, since the summer 2009. There is a lot to like about this group. There is a lot to like about the Magic. There is a lot to like about what this team can be. But a lot of it is can, might, could, should. At a certain point, you got to evaluate a team as they are. And while the Magic are still a very young team, and there are certainly allowances to be given for improvement, and I don't think, in general, Jeff Weltman believes in wholesale changes. Stability matters. We're going to have the same coach for 3 straight years. How long has it been since Steve Clifford was here for 3 years, but before Steve Clifford, how long has it been since the Magic coach for 3 straight years? It's going to be Mosley, it's going to be Clifford, and Clifford's third year was obviously the COVID year where things went off the rail. And then Stan Van Gundy. Before Stan, it was what? Doc? Stability matters. Stability helps young players especially grow. And so the question is, how are the Magic going to grow? And who's going to put themselves in a spot part of this team in the bigger picture? That is the ultimate question. That is what's ultimately at play here. And this season for the Orlando Magic as an organization is all about proving themselves to the league so that, their 2K ratings get bumped up a little bit, proving themselves to management so that part of this team and this group moving forward, and proving themselves to each other that they are capable of being a serious player in the conference in the very near future. That's a lot of pressure. And we're going to talk about the Magic dealing with that pressure coming up, our big question of the day, coming up in just a moment. So as we've been doing all week, obviously we asked a big question here and asked a big thing of what this season's about for the Orlando Magic just now in the last 10 minutes. So if you're watching thing on the podcast, you got the ad cut in already, and YouTube also had an ad cut in. So, it wasn't too long ago that we were talking about that. So in our run up to training camp over the next month, we are going to ask one big question or address a big question that this Magic team faces this year. And today's big question is about pressure. I just laid out why this season is full of pressure and why this season is so big. It is about proving themselves in so many ways and really helping us figure out who this Magic team not only is, but who it's going to be. It's obviously a lot, and there's obviously a lot to get to. And so the big question Magic have to face, and something that I am probably most intrigued with, as we determine who stays, who goes, what matters, what doesn't, we're going to get to see this team play under some winning pressure. Now, management may not be putting the team directly under winning pressure. A small Mosley will have a little bit more results-based expectations. The team itself is certainly putting itself under that pressure. Paolo Banchero said it back in April. We feel like we're playoffs or bust next year. Whether he meant playoffs or postseason play-in game as well, but we're going to see this team play under real pressure. And like I said before, figure out who this team is. That's only going to come from the consistency of winning and seeing how this team performs when it has to win. Making the playoffs is almost essential just so they could go through a 7-game series and have their weaknesses exposed. Really reveal I thought I was good, but then they doubled off me because I can't shoot. Well, is that something I can fix, or are the Magic going to move on from me because I can't do that? I thought I knew how to handle this double team, but then they sent me a defensive scheme that I've never seen, where they were just sitting on my pet move. How do I handle that if I'm Paolo Banchero or Franz Wagner or whoever? That is something that only the playoffs reveal, and the playoffs humble every star in their first run through it. They humble every great team in their first run through the playoffs. And so it's really, really important that the Magic get there. Again, maybe the play-in tournament simulates that a little bit. Maybe the in-season tournament simulates it a little bit. But the Magic have to get there and see who steps up to the pressure and who maybe wilts under it. Can someone who wilts learn from that? Do you have faith that they'll figure it out? You look at Nikola Vucevic in his first playoff appearance with the Magic in 2019, he struggled. But when 2020 came around, he was awesome. He was excellent in the play-in loss to the Heat last year as well. He was excellent in the postseason game against the Raptors. Some guy, you could definitely figure it out. It's not set in stone if you have one playoff failure that your playoff failure forever. Magic have to learn this. The Magic have to figure this out. And, one of the things that I love about the FIBA World Cup is we're seeing Franz Wagner play under pressure. He was great in Thursday and Wednesday's game against Latvia. We'll see what he does tomorrow against the U.S. We'll see what Paolo does against the U.S. He had an excellent game against I'm blanking on who they played now. Excellent game on Tuesday against Italy. And maybe there was some extra juice in that game, and obviously his role isn't as big, but he played his role fantastically and was part of why the U.S. won that game. And a big reason why one of the reasons the U.S. was able to pull away in that game so easily, especially coming off a terrible game against Lithuania. Seeing how players respond to big losses, respond to big wins, play in games. That is as essential understanding and learning as anything else the Magic can find out this year. So it is important that the Magic feel this pressure. One of the reasons I love the in-season tournament, and I really hope the Magic take the in-season tournament seriously, is because they will get to see their team play under pressure. They will get to see their team deal with a little bit of must-win pressure. Starting those 2 games on the road, I sincerely hope Jim Mosley puts emphasis on those games and says, hey, we've got to win these games. Our backs are against the wall here. We've got to win and set ourselves up to have success home. That's what a playoff series is. And, the Magic, I was going over it with someone today. The Magic play 7 games during the season tournament 2 weeks. They play at Brooklyn to start the in-season tournament. They go to Chicago on a back-to-back, then in-season tournament game against Chicago, then at Indiana on Saturday. They come home to play Toronto for an in-season tournament game, back-to-back against Denver at home, and then Boston on that Friday to close the in-season tournament run. That's 7 games. Why not simulate playoff pressure and tell the team, hey, this is a series. We got to win 4 of these 7, especially early in the season. And y'all maybe put extra emphasis on the 4 games actually count toward the in-season tournament. But why not? Those 2 Chicago games especially, that's a team you're going to have to compete with directly. Why not feel the pressure, even that early in the season, of we have to win these games? Because it's better to fail in November at games, perhaps fail in April at those games, and certainly understand and know how to handle that kind of pressure entering those must-win game play-in tournament. We do not know how this team plays under pressure, under intensity, because they haven't experienced it. They haven't had to play those games. You haven't seen this team play those games against other teams who also have to win that. It's a double-sided thing. And part of this season is going to be learning how the Magic handle that pressure. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. You can always find me on Twitter at @PhilipRR_OMD. Subscribe to the podcast, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Himalaya, Google Play, Spotify, and all the public podcasts to your podcast-enabled listening device. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can follow us there on Twitter at Daily. Don't forget also to check out my Patreon page, the Orlando Magic Hub, for some extra information, especially when the season gets started. I'll be putting a lot more information on there, but I'm diving deeper into other things going on as well there at the moment. So definitely check that out when you get the chance. You can, of course, again, find me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD. On tomorrow's episode of Locked On Magic, we'll be back to recap the semifinal the Orlando Magic Civil War between Franz Wagner and Germany and Paolo Banchero in the United States. That is an 8:40 a.m. tip-off. If you're trying to watch live, I'll be following live on Orlando Magic Daily, at Magic Daily on Twitter. And then we'll talk about that game on tomorrow's episode of Locked On Magic. But until then, for Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic, this has been Philip Rossman-Reich. We'll see you again next time for another episode of Locked On Magic.